Welcome to Smart in the City, the Babel podcast where we bring together top actors in the smart city arena, sparking dialogues and interactions around the stakeholders and themes most prevalent for today's citizens and tomorrow's generations. I am your host, Tamlin Shimizu, and I hope you will enjoy this episode and gain knowledge and connections to accelerate the change for a better urban life. Smart in the City is brought to you by Babel Smart Cities. We enable processes from research and strategy development to co-creation and implementation. To learn more about us, please visit the Babel platform at babel-smartcities.eu. So today we're diving back into the Urban Innovation Leadership Program. And if you don't know what it is already, we have partnered with Urban Innovators Global to build this program as part of the Babel Academy. This program provides tailored and fully customizable modules to cities and other organizations delivered by some of the top educators and innovators in the space. So in this episode, we're going to be looking at curriculum design and industry needs in the urban innovation and smart city space, around questions like which competencies and skills are needed for the future to make the changes we really need. So it is my pleasure now to introduce you to some wonderful guests. And there's a returning guest as well. I'll introduce you to him first. If you haven't gotten the chance to listen to that episode already, definitely recommend that you check it out. And now he's here to share more knowledge from his side. Raffaele Guerrieri, he's the partner at Urban Innovators Global, CEO of Urban Futures, and the former CDO of Rome. Welcome, Raffaele.
Thank you, Tamlin, for your kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yeah, pleasure to have you again. I love having return guests, and we're already very comfortable with each other. You know the podcast well, so yeah, I'm excited to explore more. And this time you have a counterpart on your side, which is wonderful that you get to exchange with on a lot of interesting topics. Her name is Islam Bousguinda. She's a lecturer and researcher in smart sustainable cities governance and planning at the University of Twente, Netherlands. Welcome, Islam.
Thank you very much, Tamerline, for the invitation. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so glad to have you. So as Raffaele knows, we like to start off with a little teaser to get us warmed up and in the mood for the main interview part. And so the teaser I brought for you today, and we can start with you maybe, Islam. Describe your daily work life in 3 emojis.
Okay. 3 emojis. I think the first one would be the smiley face emoji. I'm always trying to bring a bit of positive energy to my colleagues and to the office. The next one probably would be the emoji with the glasses that reflects a bit of knowledge and research and the work in academia. And probably the third emoji would be the speaking emoji, being like an educator and having to communicate a lot through the day with students and colleagues also.
Yeah, really good. All right, Raffaele, what do you have? Which emojis describe your daily life?
That's the toughest part of the interview, as usual. Anyway, I would say the memo emoji, that reminds me of learning and knowledge. This is something that I appreciate about my job and my activity during the day. The second one could be grinning face with smiling eyes, which reminds me to fun. I'd like to, of course, to be involved in professional matters, but also in a mood of having fun together with colleagues and friends. And I would say the last one could be coffee cup, just to remind me to stay active during the day.
Stay awake.
and enjoy any moment.
Yeah, it's very good. I like the coffee. Actually, it could be for caffeine and staying energized, but also could be for like taking a coffee break sometimes within your day, right? So I like it. Good. So I love to give now the listeners more intel into who you are. What is your background? Islam, maybe you can start. Tell us where where did you come from? What has your work been like up to this point, and what are you doing nowadays?
Yes, definitely. So I am a mother of two young girls. I am originally from Tunisia, but I was raised in Oman. My background in education is engineering, so I started as an architecture engineer. Currently, I'm a university lecturer at the University of Twente in the Netherlands. I'm teaching at the BMS faculty, which is Behavioral Management and Society, mainly topics related to smart cities, urban governance, and urban innovation in general. So as I said, I started my career as an architecture engineer. I worked in the industry for a couple of years. And then I decided that I would like to pursue an academic career. So I did a master in smart cities planning, and then followed with a PhD also in smart cities governance and planning.
Really, really interesting. Yeah. And what's your favorite thing about teaching?
Uh, I guess it's the interaction with students, and also the that I get to learn from my students. Sometimes, like interacting with students, these discussions within classes, I really enjoy having these with students and getting to learn also sometimes new information from my students.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Rafael, I know you told us once before, but for those who haven't gotten the chance to listen to that episode, I'd love to have you give us your background. I love hearing about it, and maybe I also learned something new.
Yes, many thanks. Yes, I'm married with a son who is now a young adult. And my historical background is technical. I'm an electronic engineer. And so I started as a programmer and a team leader in the first year of my career. Then I moved to more managerial roles, and I got a master in local government management. I work first in the province of Brescia, which is an intermediate local government in a place located in between Milan and Venice in the north of Italy. And then I moved to the city of Rome, where I was the chief digital officer of the city. And after that, I also had an experience as a private manager in a national telco operator that wanted to open a new business unit on smart city matters. And during those years, I also had a chance to be the president of a European network of training organization for the Council of Europe. And recently, I started the new adventure as an entrepreneur, co-founding a startup studio and being a partner of Urban Innovators Global.
Yeah, I love hearing about your background. It's so diverse and really leads you to where you're at today. So would love to dig into now a bit more about education and what is the role of education within urban innovation. Islam, in your extensive experience, also learning and teaching, how do you really view the role of academic institutions in shaping future leaders in this domain?
Yes, definitely. I think that the role of academic, I would say, institutions is mainly providing knowledge, education, maybe, and research, and equipping these, I would say, current students who might be future leaders with the basic knowledge and understandings, for instance, of the current urban challenges, and then how they might also develop innovative solutions to, I would say, solve these challenges or come up with solutions. However, I believe that this should be also coupled with practical, I would say, experiences. So I believe that it's not just the fact that they should be experiencing, I would say, that through education and research. practical experiences are also an important factor in their, I would say, educational path that might equip them to be more better, I would say, urban leaders. And this might be through, for instance, interdisciplinary collaborations with different sectors, like, for instance, the engineering sector, maybe social sciences, probably environmental also sciences, and also partnerships, I would say, with governmental institutions, the public sector, and also maybe the private sector.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that this role is evolving? Or, like, we talk right now about there being kind of this systemic change, this big system shift, and things are changing quite quickly now in this digital world. Do you think that role for academic institutions is also changing?
Yes, definitely it is changing. I mean, keeping up, for instance, with the massive ubiquity presence of technology and this massive also evolving of technology is definitely, for instance, one of the challenges for us as educators within academia. Also, this like the I would say the challenge, the complexity of the urban challenges is something also that adds more, I would say, to the complexity of our role as educators. So urban challenges could span, for instance, from the environmental challenges, transportations, water, waste, etc. So it's a challenge for us as educators. How can we give this holistic, I would say, perspective to these students and, as I said, future probably urban leaders?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Rafael, from your perspective, so you worked for quite some years, 25 years, is that correct, in the public domain? Yeah, and then, so from your perspective, what do you think are some critical gaps between academic preparation and then the real world demands in urban innovation in the public sector? And how can those be addressed?
Yes, well, I think that from my experience, most of the times I see that there is a great interest, and the topic of urban innovation is very attractive to public managers, officials, and so on. But actually, in many other times, there is also the perception that uh, the topic we are talking about, maybe, for example, in a training course, are not so close to the daily needs they have to face with. So they are interested on one side, but they are also stressed by the fact that they are very busy with daily stuff, the lack of time at looking at mid-long term goals that in their mind can change their current situation. So these preparation is seen most of the time as a special moment, but not as a plan to improve or to change ordinary tasks. So I think there is the need to step back a while to look at the deep needs and somehow to plan an innovative way to show them that urban innovation is the way to change their daily problems in the mid and long term. This is probably the only way, by the way. And so I think there is a need to raise that awareness and belief. And another point I think is there is the need to show those people that they are not alone and that they can work together with other similar colleagues that are facing the same problem, and the fact that they might have a different background and experience could be in the end a real additional value rather than a problem of communication.
Yeah, really, really interesting points you bring up. And so we're talking now about these kind of practical experiences, bridging with this theoretical knowledge, right? And I wonder, from your perspective, Islam, how, and you mentioned this before, right? On how they need both, how they need the theoretical and they need the practical experience when we're talking about students. Or I think it's true also when you're learning any new subject as an adult, no matter how old you are, right? You need to learn the theory and apply it in a practical way. So from your perspective, how does like your curriculum integrate these practical experiences and theoretical knowledge, and any other examples you can give on this integration piece?
Yes, definitely. Probably it's worth mentioning that particularly at the University of Twente, we are it's like as a Dutch technical university, there is also this focus on the practical, I would say, part. So it's not just a theoretical, I would say, university, but we have a good emphasis on applying what we teach students on real world case studies. So at the university, we work with something called the TOM model, which is Twente's educational model. The TOM is an abbreviation for a Dutch name. I can't really remember it. But it means that, for instance, for every year, the students learn, for instance, in 4 quartiles. And for each of these quartile, we have 2 to 3 theoretical courses, and we have 1 practical obligatory course, which we call a project. So in this project, the students, they get to apply what they learn in these 2 or 3 theoretical courses into an actual, I would say, a project. So the projects could be, for instance, in my curriculum or in my courses, in one of the projects, we had a collaboration with the municipality of Enschede here in the Twente region, in which the students, they get to interact with the municipality directly. They worked, for instance, on a certain challenge, which is the safety within the city. So they approached these public servants there. They learned about the problem, and then they had to use like some analytical skills to come up with solutions and then actually implement them within the city and collect data about how is the effect of such solutions. Did they work? Did they not work? What was the, let's say, the final outcomes? Other also, for instance, projects that I did implement in my curriculum is using virtual reality tools to also solve some problems related to, again, safety, for instance, in streets. So students could also get to experiment, I would say, with these technologies, and then how they work, how they can collect data through these technologies, and how can they utilize these technologies to come up with solutions, I would say, for our everyday urban challenges.
Yeah, really interesting to see that practical experience being applied. Raffaele, what are you seeing as these like kind of emerging trends? I don't want to use the word trends because it's more meaningful than that, right? But these yeah, I don't have a better word for it. We're going to call it a trend for now. But what do you see as the emerging trends in urban innovation that you think academic programs really need to start incorporating and to stay current, relevant, useful? What should every curriculum include?
Well, first of all, I think that there is need to tailor the program to the specific needs of a specific city. So we know that the path of innovation is different from cities to cities, even if there are, of course, in common some principles, some concepts, but the starting point could be different. So the understanding of which is the current state of the art and which is the basis, the platform upon which to improve is a key aspect, in my opinion, for this kind of academic program. But moving more to the content, let me say, I think there is in general a great need of supporting the growth of leadership inside the community. So this is a key success factor, in my opinion, together with the ability of building a vision in a specific community. So it's something that goes beyond the set of projects or initiative. It's something that group all of it and give the real sense of what we are aiming for and why there is the need of this effort of change of innovation. And final, I think it's important to find a way to establish the habit or having this kind of program not just inside a single entity, inside a single organization, but together with the other stakeholders of the city, of the urban context, because we know that the change, the innovation inside a city is something that may happen because there is a coherent action, a convergent action among all the players. And so also the academic program should try to group all of them and to help all of them to have a single joint vision and to share the leadership that probably is inside each of those organizations.
Yeah, really, really interesting points that you touch on there. And with maybe for you both, with those aspects, when teaching, when educating about urban innovation, what do you think are the biggest challenges that we're facing when we talk about educating the future leaders of urban innovation? Raffaele, maybe you want to start with also some challenges that you're seeing pop up?
Yeah. I mentioned someone before. So, in my opinion, we need to spread the message that innovation is feasible, no, is doable. Because sometimes most of the players are worried, are fear about the fact that they can't manage to do this, while they needed to know that they are not alone, that they could be part of a community maybe somehow of pioneers, but still a community that can help each other. And it's important also to sustain the approach of working together with others, no matter the different backgrounds that they could have. So it's not just a matter of IT guys, but it's a matter of people in charge of mobility together, those in charge of social assistance, of public works, politicians and technicians, academic people, and entrepreneurs. And and yes, last point, again, I mentioned a little bit before, in my opinion, is that the importance of developing a joint vision for a territory so that the existing ongoing projects could be seen as pieces of a single puzzle that can represent the future of that community.
Yeah, absolutely. What skills do you think you need? Like, what skills do the leaders need? Like, I don't know if you can name a few to be able to do those, to be able to tackle those challenges. What are those skill sets that they're building?
In general, I would say the ability of working out of their traditional application domain, out of their specific vertical. So this ability to talk with people about communication, finance, ethics, security, and so on, not just the specific problem, because sometimes, most of the times, let me say, having common infrastructure among those domains can the real unexpected solution to the specific problem. So this idea of being able to have a transversal approach to the problems and to the solution, I think could be the winning
key. Yeah,
one.
absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for outlining that. Islam, what about you? What do you think are the key challenges that we're facing when we're educating these urban innovation leaders?
I would say from my own perspective as an educator at university, for me personally, the biggest challenges is the complexity, I would say, of the urban challenges themselves. So, for instance, spanning, as I said, from housing challenges, waste, flooding, transportation. It's a bit complicated for me as an educator to cover all of that in, for instance, one course or even two courses. So that's why I would emphasize the idea of interdisciplinary collaborations that could even happen within the same university. For instance, I'm teaching more, I would say, on the social sciences perspectives of these urban challenges in mainly the bachelor program of management, society, and technology. And our bachelor students are regularly encouraged, for instance, to take I would say courses as additional, I would say, courses in electives. I forgot the name. Sorry, as electives in, for instance, in the engineering faculty, so they could also have another perspective on the same problem. For instance, the transportation or waste or water from more of, I would say, another sector. Another also challenge I mentioned also earlier is the rapid technology advancement. So, for instance, when I am explaining in one of the classes the idea of utilizing AI, for instance, in the public sector, my students they were already, for instance, talking or discussing about the metaverse and the latest technologies in that regard. So it's challenging also to keep up with all these advancements and rapid advancements. So for me, as a solution, it might be to keep myself up to date with these technologies, read as much as possible. I also have like these knowledge spread from colleagues, and probably also encourage my students to experiment with these new technologies. So if they are interested in a new technology that we haven't, let's say, yet discussed, so I would encourage them to experiment with it and share these acquired knowledges with the rest of their colleagues.
Yeah, really good points. I think the need for this interdisciplinary approach is obviously very prevalent. So maybe I'll ask you, Raffaele, in your experience, I think we're talking about the role of academic institutions in education. How have you seen it play out in maybe a practical example of, collaboration between a public sector, private sector, academic institution? Can you give any a practical example of where you've seen this really be successful?
Yes, I'd like to share an initiative, a project that I was dealing with a few years ago in Brescia. It was a public and private partnership for a smart lighting initiative in 28 small municipalities. So that was, in my opinion, a nice experience because, first of all, it was an opportunity for smaller communities to be part of the innovation process, no? Because sometimes there is the thinking that is something affordable just for big cities, while this was an example where all the small communities staying all together in a single initiative managed to attract investments from private players in the same way as mid-big cities could do. And second, it was interesting because this public and private partnership showed how you can join innovation in a traditional problem issue like the lighting. No, I mean, that's not something new, but that was the opportunity not only to modernize the light system infrastructure, but also to add a modern wireless connectivity in those small municipalities. And last, I enjoyed a lot the cooperation between all the players. I mean, there were a lot of meetings with officials of small municipalities and experts, as well as meeting with politicians and experts and representatives from the academia, but also meetings with citizens to explain what we were doing for them and which was the innovative part and why. So for all of us, it was an unconventional learning path because, of course, we started with an idea, with some also concept of innovation, but then going through this process together with these meetings and with the contribution of all the parties, we ended in something slightly different from the beginning. And it was as if we learn on the job, no? So that was a great example, in my opinion, of cooperation between the all parties. And finally, we had the chance also to involve professor from university to be part of the Turner Commission, so to somehow typically solve the problem of an academic approach towards a practical case. And so the fact that we were affecting 28 municipality all together, that was, in my opinion, a great example, still modern, let me say, about how the partnership between all the different partners and how the aggregation could be a way to innovate everywhere.
Yeah, really good example to bring to the table. Islam, do you also have an example of a time when you brought all the players to the table?
Yes, I would like to mention actually an I would say academic public sector collaboration that involved citizens as well in this partnership. It was mainly, I would say, collaboration in which, let's say, the public sector were they needed some more insightful, I would say, information into the problem of lack of participation in decision making within the city, which was in the city of Schiedam in the Netherlands. So we agreed on a certain, I would say, a limit that we are going to utilize some innovative technologies to try to attract more citizens into the public participation process, in which the citizens were asked to participate in taking decisions, for instance, related to their neighborhood planning. So there was like a refurbishment of a new neighborhood in the city in which the streets need to replanned, also public spaces, parks, etc. And the city was expecting basically citizens to have a say in that in this process. However, as I said, they were lacking participation or interest from citizens to participate. And this lack of interest was particularly within, let's say, less advantaged neighborhoods within the city. So the collaboration was aiming, as I said, to utilize a certain type of technologies that utilizes like 3D modeling and virtual reality models to facilitate the participatory planning process in more of a 3D environments, which is much more easier for citizens maybe to interact and understand than regular, I would say, plans and documents. This was really an insightful collaboration because, to be honest, the outcome were not expected or as expected. The citizens or these less advantaged citizens who were asked to participate in this decision making process through these, they call it fancy technologies, they didn't really appreciate that. So they on the contrary, I would say that it was not a success. So we didn't actually attract much of the interest of the citizens, and there were complaints about that the municipality is wasting their money on these fancy technologies, that the municipality probably could have paid more attention to their everyday struggles. For instance, some of them, they were jobless, or they are struggling to feed their children, etc. So the final recommendation, I would say, from this collaboration was actually to consider carefully when and where and with whom to utilize technologies, and which kind of technology, basically, to have, let's say, fruitful solution.
Yeah, there you can see definitely a powerful role for academia. Briefly, I want you both to say, when educating leaders in urban innovation, what does success look like? Raffaele?
Well, I think that when you register a different attitude after this kind of moment, to use the existing resources that cities have in terms of human resources, financial resources, but also current initiative, that is an indicator that something in their mind change, and they start to understand how to build something new upon the existing state of the art. No, and second, I think that there is a success when you can see that after this brainstorming, there is the will of a planning of a new innovation program, and there is an understanding that education in this context can be a sort of engine to accelerate and govern, so above all, the digital transformation that anyway the society is facing now. No, so when there is the feeling that those people understand that they can play an active role rather than staying passive.
Yeah, really, really good insights. I think this shift in mindset is definitely super key when you're looking at the outcomes and what success looks like. Islam, what does success look like?
That's a really interesting question. I would say I really feel like I would say I have the feeling of success when I see, for instance, some of my former students taking like decision making roles. Sometimes they approach me through LinkedIn, or I see their announcements, for instance, on LinkedIn. And I even feel like the success further when I see them, for instance, working on actual projects, applying what they have learned in the right way, using, for instance, critical thinking and analytical skills to develop these innovative solutions, while keeping in mind for instance, the ethical considerations, the social responsibility, equity, and inclusivity. All these, I would say, considerations that we have taught them during the programs.
Yeah, really good points. With that, we're through the main interview part, and I want to get to a segment. And this segment that we've chosen for you today, it's called Inspire Us. Inspire us, just a little bit, with a story, a quote, or anything that has inspired you recently. Who would like to start?
Well, I think I'm even now, after unfortunately many years of job experience, I more and more convinced that even if, let me say, we as experts, we would like to contribute in designing the new evolution of cities, the new shape of cities, the fact that it's me every time is the how actually is the contribution of ordinary people that can change and can give um, the force to change things. No, so uh, I try to remind myself how important it is to keep the dialogue open and how it's important the citizen engagement is in these kind of things. So even more I than I know, let me say by by theory, but practical situation uh, tell me that how this is critical
Yeah.
and inspirational also. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Islam, have you heard a quote or story or anything that inspired you?
Yeah, there is a quote that I was trying to get. So I will read the quote. I actually quoted this in my PhD thesis, and it was really an actual inspiration for me. The quote is by Solo it was in actually 1950. And he said the majority of productivity growth in society derived not as much from technology as much from human knowledge and creativity, which are the two essential components of innovation. So I still believe after all of this, I would say years researching the idea of technology, smart cities, innovation, etc., that it is like smartness is rooted within, let's say, this human nature. It's not about, I would say, just these technical products or these technologies themselves. However, it is like the growth derived from the society itself from within inside the society.
Yeah, really well put. I like the quote a lot as well. And impressive that it comes from a long time ago, but can still be
Yeah,
applied today, right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And maybe that leads also good into our final question. And that's the question we ask every single guest that comes onto the podcast. And maybe Islam, you can start because we've heard Rafael already once. And maybe he wants to shift some things. But Islam, to you, what is a smart city?
I would say as a continuation of like the quote and then my understanding of the smart city, it's again like I believe that smart city is not about technology, it's about the smartness of like within the society, the actual interactions within the society, keeping in mind these social interactions, these the values, for instance, of the society, like equity, inclusivity, ethical considerations. I think these are the roots of of a smart city model, and then we can add to that, I would say, a spring of technology or innovation.
Yeah, really well put. Rafael, maybe you want to add something also to Islam's definition or elaborate on that?
Well, I think I could say more or less a similar content, maybe with different words. I like to say that a smart city is a place where all the players start to build together at the culture of innovation. No, where the culture starts from the understanding of the needs of the different parties that there are in a community and tries to take advantage of all the tools that community can use. And technology is for sure some of those tools, but it's not the only one. And so this ability of sharing a common culture and sharing a single approach is what, in my opinion, can make a community smart in terms of how to identify the right future for that specific community.
I really love the starting from the needs of the people, right? And it seems so intuitive. Like it seems so like, duh, of course we start from the needs, but actually in practicality, it's actually not done that often. So I really, really love that point, Raffaele. With that, that's all I have for you today. I really appreciate both of your times to come onto the podcast to really share your expertise and share what education means also to you. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. I really enjoyed this discussion.
Yeah, me as well. So thank you so much. And to all of our listeners, thank you as well for listening. And don't forget, you can always create a free account on babel-smartcities.eu. You can find out more about smart city projects, solutions, and implementations. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for listening. I'll see you at the next stop on the journey to a better urban life.